Hello everyone, welcome to this video. Starting from FortiOS 7.6.3, SSL VPN Tunnel Mode configuration is no longer going to be available in the GUI or in the CLI. So if you are upgrading to 7.6.3, you must migrate this SSL VPN configuration to Dial-Up VPN configuration. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to do that. So let's get started. All right, so whenever you want to upgrade a FortiOS version, it's very important to go through the release notes. So for example, this is 7.6.3 release notes. You can find it on the website. So you go to the FortiOS, FortiGate website, and then you refer to the release notes in here. Then I'll select 7.6.3 release notes. Going to special notes, and I can see in here SSL VPN Tunnel Mode replaced with IPSEC VPN. Now, when you read through it, it says starting from this version, the SSL VPN Tunnel Mode is replaced with IPSEC VPN. Tunnel Mode is no longer available in the GUI or CLI, and it will not upgrade it from previous version. To ensure uninterrupted remote access, customer must migrate their SSL VPN Tunnel Mode configuration to IPSEC before upgrading to FortiOS 7.6.3. Now I want to show you a quick thing. So there is a full documentation before that in here, providing you on how to migrate, information on how to migrate. I'm going to go to the design consideration. I'm just going to show quick, design overview or difference overview between SSL VPN Tunnel Mode and the Dial-Up IPSEC, in case someone is not aware of Dial-Up IPSEC. Now, in the SSL VPN, you have remote users connecting to their FortiGate on a WAN interface. Connection would be established using SSL VPN Tunnel Mode to the FortiGate and is secured by TLS. WAN interface is going to be a public IP, certain port number, TCP, most likely 8443. Then when user authenticate to the VPN, the user has to authenticate itself using its credential, either local user on the FortiGate or remote authentication server is going to be used. And once the user is authenticated, they get access to the internal resources. And you might be having split tunnel enabled as well. IPSEC Dial-Up VPN is no different. The only, I would say main differences is the protocols that are used when connection is established between the remote user and the FortiGate VPN. A very important design consideration to know about is when you are using SSL VPN, you're using TCP protocol that is on port 443 or on a custom TCP port. Now, if this is a must in your Dial-Up IPSEC VPN scenario, if you have to use TCP protocol, then the IKE version 2 is recommended, since TCP port 443 can be used. Now, if you want to use a custom port for TCP protocol, if I go to this document, it's actually here, tunnel protocol and encapsulation. I opened it here. Then you need to, it's required to use FortiClient 7.4.1 and above if you want to use a custom TCP port on FortiClient. All right. Now another thing, FortiClient 7.4.4 IKE version 1 is no longer supported in there. Okay, so there's a a lot of compatibilities and consideration when it comes to the FortiClient version, but in general, if you want to use the TCP protocol, recommended to use FortiClient version 7.4.1 and above, especially if you want to use a custom TCP port. All right, if this is not really a requirement, then you could be even just using IKE version 1. If you want to know IKE version 1, version 2 differences, it's highlighted in here. All right. Now, see design consideration. We talked about that. There's also in this document, you know, a lot of details included in here. You can go through it. But now we're going to jump into the existing SSL VPN configuration in our environment. This is 7.6.2 version. I have existing SSL VPN settings in here. So this is my topology, just a quick view. I have a remote user connecting to the FortiGate on a WAN interface. Now this is just a, you know, a demo environment, so I'm using private IP address, and that remote user want to access to this only this internal network 10.0. All right, so I'm using WAN interface in here, 8443 as the port. There's no restrict access. It's from any host, and there is tunnel mode configuration. This is the IP addresses that are assigned to the client when they connect to the VPN. You can specify that custom address range. They were using client system DNS as their DNS server. And I'm using here all users. This is here where you map the portals to the user group. I'm just using the default. If I go to the full access portal, I see there is tunnel mode enabled with split tunnel. So meaning that when the remote user connect to the SSL VPN, the traffic will go through the SSL VPN only when destined to this internal network 10.0. This is the pool of IP addresses that get assigned to the users. And this is the web mode. All right. And then I have a policy SSL VPN interface to the internal network interface, which is 10.0 network. And user John, who's a local user, is allowed to access this internal resources in the network. All right. So now I'm going to show you how to migrate this configuration into Dial-Up IPSEC VPN. Okay, so now let's configure the Dial-Up IPSEC VPN, and I'm going to be using the VPN wizard. This is going to be named Dial-Up VPN. Number 1. I'll select remote access and I'll begin the process. Now, authentication, VPN client type, I'm going to be using FortiClient, and the FortiClient version that I'm going to be using, I believe it's going to be 7.4.3. So let's use pre-shared key. This is a key in order for the VPN tunnel to get established. It's not the user authentication. IKE, I'm going to be using IKE version 2. Now the transport, I'm going to be using auto. So it says reattempt IKE negotiation with TCP encapsulation before timeout. So UDP, it will use UDP negotiation. Auto, it will use first UDP. If it fails, it will use TCP. Now, TCP encapsulation is using TCP protocol for the negotiation. Now I'm going to keep it to auto. NAT Traversal enabled if FortiGate detected between gateway and the client, NAT, it will be enabled. EAP peer identification. This is some sort of identification that get requested from the client. I'll keep it to that, but then I'll change it later. I'm going to disable it because I'm not using it in this demo. User authentication method inherit from the policy. And I'm going to use the user John. So this is just whatever user is specified in the policy, it's going to be used. I'm going to be using system DNS. Like I'm going to be using FortiGate system DNS for the client DNS. I'm going to enable split tunnel. Go ahead and do next. The range of addresses assigned to the client. Can use this. Now, security poster gateway match. This is for ZTNA tags. And this is VPN settings. I'll just keep it the default. Incoming interface, I'll use 1.1. And I will disable creating a zone. Now, local interface, where the user is trying to access when connected to the VPN, I'll use port 2 internal network. And local address, I only want them to have access to internal network in this tunnel, meaning that only when the user try to get to this network, they will use the VPN. Go ahead and click submit. Now the VPN tunnel has been created. If I go to the policy, so I have a Dial-Up VPN policy in here using the Dial-Up VPN interface. This is the internal interface that the user is trying to access. This is the user John and the destination network in here. So it looks, it's the same, or looks similar to the SSL VPN policy that I have. It does the same thing. So now I'm going to try to upgrade the firewall version, and I will go to version 7.6.3. Select the version, next, immediate. So I'll go ahead and proceed with this update. And then once it gets updated, I'll show you that SSL VPN configuration is going to be removed. All right, so let's log into 763. 763. I still see this vulnerability. It's in regard to single sign-on login bypass. If you're affected by this, it's strongly recommended to upgrade to 7.6.6. Anyway, I'm gonna go in here to the VPN, and don't see any SSL VPN configuration. Even if I try to go to the feature visibility, there's no SSL VPN. It's been removed, the tunnel mode VPN configuration. There's Agentless VPN interface, which I believe, I'm not quite sure, but I believe this is for the web mode. Yes, so this is for the web mode settings. I believe it's done from the CLI. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, there's probably a lot of things I did not cover in this video, but I just wanted to show you a quick walkthrough of SSL VPN to Dial-Up VPN migration, and just highlight some of the important things. I'll also, I'm not going to cover right now the FortiClient connection to the Dial-Up VPN. I'll just do it in the next part of the video. All right, stay tuned.